What's up, family? Welcome back to another legendary reaction video. Let's go. What NBA players, or NBA legends, I should say, and players think of Larry Bird? Man, he's a legend, man. Doesn't matter what he think, who they think, who think what. The facts is in the pudding, right? But let's go. Let's go.
You know, there's a photograph of Larry not choking one another, and it looked like
Now, this is an iconic moment that always will go down in history and always will be brought up as one of the amazing stories of Larry ain't no choir boy. You know what I'm saying? He gets down when he needs to get down, and that was the NBA back then. I feel like the NBA. I never watched them play back then, and that's why I'm so inspired to listen to their stories. Extract the wisdom, of course. But I feel like I would have been I am way more interested in basketball back then than now. Yeah, not to get off subject.
but in which he was going to take a swing.
I said, "You're crazy. I'm not shooting no commercial with Larry."
People always ask me who's the hardest player I've ever had to guard, and there was
Look at this guy, man.
Michael Jordan, George Gervin, the late great Mike Mitchell. I mean, so many players. I always say Larry Bird.
Magic Johnson once said, "Larry Bird is so good it's frightening." And to
Hold up, family. I know y'all like to get on me when it comes to this the views, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me, I apologize. Let's get back into it. You know what I'm saying? An ad commercial did come up. Well, it didn't come up. It was, a little bit frozen, but excuse me. I did not mean to do that, okay? Let's continue.
we're peeling back the layers of that fear to uncover why NBA legends confess that Larry Bird was nothing short of a basketball god. But there is more to Larry than scaring the living daylights out of Magic Johnson. The hick from French Lick wasn't just a master on the court. He was a psychological chess player. He played mind games with his opponents.
Of course. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said it best. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. But this between his ears, mental toughness is heart of a lion.
Larry Bird. One night in Phoenix, they were losing big time at the half. And they come out in the third quarter, and Larry did not take a shot, but dominated the game. He had 7 assists in the third quarter, and they came back and won the game. He could affect the game without taking a shot. Who else can you say that about to that degree? Nobody. Michael could never do that. Never.
Yeah, because Michael always had to. I feel like Michael had to carry. Larry Bird carried without even actually carrying when it comes to the stat boards, the numbers, or the whatever. He carried just by strategically lifting all his other players up around him, to the simple fact that, I think if I'm not mistaken, Michael Jordan called him like the white Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, my man uplifted people around him. That's how impactful he was. Made an impact on a game without scoring a single point. Made an impact on the game without even worrying about putting up the stats or chasing stats. But the overall objective to win the game. And still was effective. Who doing that? Like, why not bad? Like you said.
Who else can you say that about? And they came back and won the game. He could affect the game without taking a shot. Who else can you say that about to that degree? Nobody. Michael could never do that. Never. Michael had to have the ball.
Now, I know you've heard the GOAT debates, Jordan, LeBron, and the list goes on. But what if I told you that there's a Hall of Famer who thinks Larry Bird might be the best to ever do it? Larry the Legend, the man with the mullet, the king of trash talk, the architect of unforgettable moments, might just be the true GOAT. We'll get to that. Early days. Born on December 7th, 1956 in West Baden, Indiana, and raised in the basketball crucible of French Lick, Larry Bird's roots were as humble as they come.
Look at that. Look at Larry's house, man. My man cut his own grass.
His high school stats read like video game stats. 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. And no wonder he earned a scholarship to Indiana University.
No question.
But life on a sprawling campus of 33,000 proved too overwhelming for the small-town kid. After less than a month, Bird found himself on a U-turn back to French Lick. Larry, at 17, was just a homesick kid navigating a sea of confusion. He later confessed, "The school was just too big. I was a homesick kid who was lost and broke." Bird
And then also he was trying to provide for his family. His dad had some traumatic experiences being in the service, trying to unsee things that he couldn't unsee. You know them sweat. You know them sweat dreams. You know them traumatizing dreams where you have flashes. You wake up out of bed like, you know what I'm saying. So I feel like Larry being the bigger brother, you know, being the one to hold it down as best as he could alongside his mother, you know, and yeah, man. And I know about his house situation because I watched The Courtship, and you guys should go check out those reactions with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, you know.
Bird decided to take a break from basketball and work for the municipality. He cut grass, painted benches, striped streets, and even drove a garbage truck. A far cry from the glitz of college hoops, but he wasn't done dreaming. He enrolled at a local junior college, briefly, before committing to Indiana State in 1975. His message to his garbage truck crew? "I'll be back, and I'll be the boss."
Ooh.
But life threw him a curveball. In that same year, his father took his own life. It was a gut-wrenching blow that would have shattered most, but Bird found solace on the court. After taking a season off as a transfer, he scored more than 30 points per game in his first 2 years at Indiana State. As a junior, he earned All-American honors. Now, despite being a college sensation, Larry wasn't a shoo-in for the top NBA picks in 1978. Not first, not second, not even third. It took until the 6th pick for the Boston Celtics to roll the dice on Bird.
Really? I didn't know that. Shows you what I know.
Sprinkles some of his Midas.
I learned something new every time I watch something about Larry Bird, man. That's amazing.
On the struggling franchise. Bird, armed with a 5-year, $3.25 million contract, entered Boston with skeptics questioning if he was worth the investment. Spoiler alert, he was.
Of course.
"No matter how good I am, I'm still just a hick from French Lick," he humbly declared.
Yeah, humble.
But those doubted him were swiftly silenced. In his rookie season, Bird orchestrated a Celtics revival. He took a lackluster 29-53 Boston Celtics squad and turned them into a 61-21 powerhouse. That's not a rookie season. That's a...
Man, the Celtics now couldn't do that, man. I feel like the Celtics now, with Jason Tatum and, you know, I think Brown, I feel like they're just going based off skill. But none of the players now got heart like back then with Larry Bird. You know what I'm saying?
Rookie resurrection. Oh, and did I mention he did this while battling what some in the NBA called white man's disease?
What the heck?
A supposed inability to jump high.
Oh.
Now, we all know Larry was a breed of player unlike
They try to say he can't jump, so they know they trying to stereotype.
other. Standing tall at 6'9", with passing skills and court vision that left fans in awe. And let's not forget, he was one of the pioneers of the three-point shot, making it rain long before it became the norm. But here's the twist. There's another player, Oscar Schmidt, who mirrored Bird's game, albeit on the international stage. Schmidt is hailed as one of the greatest international players of all time.
I never heard of this dude. Wow, interesting.
He is the Olympic scoring leader with over 1,000 total points, and that's no small feat. Let's rewind to 1992 in Barcelona, the stage for one of the most iconic matchups. Schmidt, representing Brazil, faced off against Larry Legend and the legendary U.S. Dream Team. It was a clash of the titans. But fast forward to 2013, and Larry Bird had the honor of welcoming Oscar Schmidt into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And even before uttering a word about his storied career, Schmidt drops a bombshell of admiration for Larry Legend. He declared, "It's too easy to have Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant as an idol. The guy flies around and does whatever he wants. It's too easy. My guy doesn't run, doesn't jump, and plays the best out of everybody else. He is here. As the crowd erupts in applause, Schmidt points directly at Bird, emphasizing, "This is my idol, the best player ever, in my opinion." NBA revitalization. Before Bird and Magic, the NBA was like that underappreciated band playing in the corner of a dive.
Unappreciated band. They were trash. NBA was trash. Simple. It was reincarnated when Bird came around. The individual that was the 6th round pick that I just found out. But I did know they doubted the investment and wanted to know if they going to get their return on investment because they didn't know if it was possible. Because they basically had prejudged that it wouldn't be worth it, even though they took the risk. And it ended up being the best thing they ever did, not only for the Celtics, but for the whole NBA franchise.
But the Larry Magic duo cranked up the volume, turned up the lights, and suddenly the NBA wasn't on the sidelines. It was the headline act. Bird's role in the revitalization should be etched in basketball history.
Facts.
3 consecutive MVP seasons, unheard of for a forward, Finals MVP twice, first team All-League for 9 straight seasons. Larry Bird wasn't just a baller. He was a basketball messiah. The dude had this magical touch that transformed teammates into champions. His court vision was ridiculous, and
You know where to be at in the court, where to be at in a strategic way. He just know where everywhere on the floor to be. Perfection to his finest. You cannot make a mistake with Larry Bird, bro.
ice in his veins. And defense? Oh, don't even get me started. Iguodala, in a rare open admission, declared Bird as the best white basketball player ever. He declared, "Larry didn't have no flaws, and I'm going to go out there on a limb, and this is the first time I've ever said this in an open setting. I'll take Larry Bird over Magic Johnson. He can play in any era."
Ooh.
Iguodala believes Bird's game transcends time and borders. NBA, FIBA, ABA, EuroLeague, you name it. He even revealed a side of Bird that makes him even more extraordinary. He said, "The man would tell you where he was going. I'm going here and then I'm stopping right there. That little logo right there. I'm stopping right there and I'm going to pull up." And he would do exactly that.
Back it up every time.
When we talk about Larry Bird, we're talking about a player who terrorized opponents throughout the 80s. The man could dribble and pass like a point guard. But here's a gem from the Larry Bird archives that adds a touch of humor to his greatness. At the height of his dominance, when the media labeled him the Great White Hope, Bird found it disrespectful to be guarded by a fellow white player. Charles Barkley spilled the beans on the Dan
He said disrespectful.
Patrick Show, recounting a conversation with Bird mid-game. According to Sir Charles, Bird said, "Y'all got a white guy trying to guard me. That's disrespectful. There's not a white guy on the planet that can guard me." Classic Larry.
That's Larry. That's Larry for you. He told you. And when he tell you, he mean business. And when he mean business, he mean business. So you better listen, because this man already gonna tell you if this man can tell you on the floor when he gonna make a shot and where he gonna go on the basketball floor, you better listen when he tell you who can stop him, which ain't really nobody. But who can't really stop him?
Competition level. From Isaiah Thomas's Pistons to Julius
And it's funny because Larry Bird calls Isaiah Thomas Cheese. That was his nickname.
76ers in the East to Magic's Lakers and Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets in the finals. Bird battled and conquered the best of the best. It wasn't just about the Celtics as a team. Larry Bird's prowess stood out even among basketball titans.
So Michael Jordan in the 80s, the best year that he had was he was the MVP of the league and the Defensive Player of the Year. I believe that was in 88.
Yes.
We
88.
beat them 4-1. I'm gonna say that again. 4-1. They won one
May I
game,
respond?
Stephen A. And he never beat Larry Bird. He never beat Magic and Kareem.
Actually, Michael Jordan said Larry Bird was in the way. So when Larry Bird retired, he actually thanked him because he stopped him from a lot of accolades that he believed he could have received.
He never won. And all I'm saying is in the 80s, what I remember in the 80s It was Philadelphia with Dr. J, Magic,
Yep.
Kareem, Bert, Michael Jordan. He was a non-factor.
Now, let's get one thing straight. Larry Bird's career isn't a stat sheet symphony. He wasn't topping the league in scoring or rebounding, nor was he etching his name into the record books for assists. Yet, whenever the Celtics needed a dose of greatness, Bird delivered like clockwork.
Of course.
But here's the real kicker. Red Auerbach, the sage of Celtics wisdom, knew this all along. Auerbach highlighted Bird's greatness before the GOAT talk began. Bird's greatness went beyond stats, Auerbach emphasized. When Bird had his third consecutive MVP year, Auerbach emphasized to Sports Illustrated, to truly comprehend Bird, do not focus only on his numbers. His presence.
It is created to truly comprehend Bird. Do not focus on his numbers, his presence, his total control on the court. Basically, his IQ and how impactful he is. Not by just labeling him by numbers, because at the end of the day, he wouldn't have got that far and had many accolades if it was just numbers. Now, numbers can be factual, but at the end of the day, you have to look at the gameplay. And everybody's gameplay is uniquely different, tied to them in a different way.
His total control on the court truly count. Even on nights when Bird didn't emerge as the stat leader early in the game, he operated on a different plane strategically and mentally.
That's it.
Auerbach, in a recent reflection, stated, "After extensive soul searching, I believe he is one of the greatest players to ever wear an NBA uniform." It wasn't about the numbers, it was about Bird's chess-like mastery of the game. Fast forward to today, and the challenge lies in persuading others of Bird's unique greatness. In an era enamored with stats, Bird's impact might be a tougher sell. People are fascinated by numbers, but Bird's greatness goes beyond that. Post-1986 era. Now, the tale takes a turn after the 1986 season. Bird faced a formidable adversary, a relentless back injury that lingered until the twilight of his career in 19...
I believe he was doing concrete in his mother's house, putting down the concrete, and that played the part in hurting his back.
1992, Bird's resilience was tested in a battle, casting shadows on his performance. However, glimpses of his prime still flickered. Amidst adversity, Bird showcased flashes of brilliance that defined his greatness. Take, for instance, the classic shootout against Dominic Wilkins in the epic Game 7 of the 1988 Eastern Conference Finals. Despite his injury, Bird summoned his prime and delivered a remarkable performance that basketball enthusiasts still marvel at.
Went against Lil Rookie.
Fast forward to 1991, a moment etched in Boston Celtics lore. Bird, battling not just opponents, but the physical toll of a head injury, took center stage in the fifth and deciding game of the series.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Despite his injury, he orchestrated a takeover, proving Larry Legend's greatness. Now, the question lingers. What could Bird have achieved if his back had held up? It's a query destined to remain unanswered, lost to the realms of hypotheticals. But for a remarkable 7-year span, from 1980 to 1986, Larry Bird reigned supreme. His impact transcended mere statistics. So, was Larry Bird the basketball god? Well, that's subjective. But one thing is undeniable. He should never be far from the conversation. Whether it's his on-court finesse, his quirky...
How about we stop looking at who's the GOAT and look at the kingdom? Mount Rushmore's, inviting others to the kingdom of being great. Greats coming together. Why always got to be one?
Arcs or the battles against the NBA's elite.
Steve Brown beat John Paxson off the pitch. The second overtime, and that will do it. The Boston Celtics in double overtime and defeated the Chicago Bulls 135 to 132 in a wild one.
He has offensive brilliance, man.
And speaking of Larry Bird's greatness, make sure to click right over here to check out this video where we break down why Michael Jordan rates Larry Bird over LeBron James.
Larry and I were talking, and Michael walks in, and he says, "There's a new sheriff in town." And we both hit each other like, well, he's not lying.
Well, That's a way to end the video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this legendary reaction video. Get this video a big thumbs up. And on that note, family, peace.